Trump sends out a post saying he wants to change, well, not change, but he wants to conduct a new census, which is only supposed to be done every 10 years, technically. We're only on the 5-year mark. It was done in 2020 last. And this is very interesting because there's a question about what, if anything, it could do to our electoral politics. Here's the Truth Social post. I've instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and importantly, using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 24. People who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, you've got RCP's Ben Weingarten, your guy, writing, this could have significant political implications because the census count is used to apportion House seats, determine the number of votes each state gets in the Electoral College for selecting the president, and drive the flow of trillions of dollars in government funds. But there's also the question of whether you can exclude illegals for those purposes. Like you do not have to let illegals vote, but the Constitution seems to read that they are supposed to be included. You're supposed to just count all persons in the United States, which is going to be a legal battle in the same way it's a legal battle right now over Trump and birthright citizenship. So what do we make of this, Andrew? Do we think the census and redoing it at the midway point is going to have electoral consequences?
Well, I'm not sure he's talking about redoing it before the 2030. That would be a big change. The Constitution, you're right, the Constitution calls for a census every 10 years, and we do use that to apportion.
He says to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census. Immediately.
Yeah, well, maybe that would be a big change. And then how you would use that, I don't know. That's a whole different constitutional question of whether you could speed up the census in order to change the numbers. It seems to me that would be a hard lift.
It's going to be a legal battle.
Enough. Yeah, I mean, it's a hard enough lift because, as you point out, the Constitution, the language is kind of clear. It says you have to count everyone in the country, and it doesn't distinguish between the two. But the political consequences of this, and Ben Weingarten's piece is well worth reading on this, and Pew has done a study on this as well. California and Texas, I think, would both lose seats. Wisconsin and a bunch of other states would gain seats. So it would change the electoral composition and could change control of the House. And we're seeing that right now with all this sort of redistribution argument that's going on, redistricting argument that's going on in Texas and other places now. Mm-hmm. So this is all part of that same argument. I do think, though, Trump has a point, and the point is that if you don't count voters, and then you provide these seats based on that number, you're sort of gypping voters. You're sort of so there might be.
Why does my vote get diluted? Right? Because I live in a state with a ton of illegals who don't have the right to vote and whose interests are really not in my head or heart when I go into the ballot box.
Right. Well, actually, I think it's the opposite. I think you get more representation because they're counting people who don't vote. So it's anyway pretty complicated stuff. But I don't think it goes anywhere. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but it does seem to me that the courts have ruled on this before, and it seems to me that changing the census is pretty tough.
I'm trying to do the math that you just quickly did. Does my vote get diluted? If I live in a state like New York or California where there's a fair amount of illegals and I'm a U.S. citizen, is my vote diluted or does it count more? I can't do the math like that. I
think it counts more. I think
Tom, you went to Princeton. Would you like to resolve that? Explain it?
No, I wasn't a math major. No,
none of us was. That's why we're in journalism.
That's right. Look, I think Trump makes a good point. And once again, in a very Trumpian way, right, which is going to outrage the liberals and, he's breaking all these norms and he wants to rig the system and do all these things. But I don't know where this goes. Legally, it's going to be tough. I think it will absolutely be challenged in court. There's no question about that. It might go all the way to the Supreme Court. And because Democrats, I don't think, want to partake in anything that would discount the counting of folks who are here illegally, because it could drastically alter the composition of some of these states. Now, again, but we don't know. I mean, this is one of those things. Like, if Texas loses votes, that's a Republican state. If California loses votes, that's a Democratic state. If Arizona loses votes, that's a swing state. New Mexico.
Yeah, because just to be clear, because if we're talking about eliminating illegals from the count, it doesn't necessarily mean like Republicans benefit or Democrats benefit. It means certain states are going to lose House members and also electoral votes, because the power of your vote, like you get more electoral votes, the more citizens or the more people, again, persons you have living within your borders. Keep going.
Correct. So we don't know exactly how this might actually affect the outcome of the composition of the House or the composition of the Electoral College. I mean, it would be interesting. And I do think, even though the Constitution says, count all persons here, I don't know that the founders were counting on the fact that there would be, 15, 20 million or more people here illegally. So
definitely not.
I think that's the argument that the Trump administration will make, and we'll see whether they're successful in that or not.
That's right.
And right now, if you have a diplomatic visa, you're not counted. So I mean, there are exceptions to the rule even now.
Right.
So yeah,
it makes no sense to be counting illegals. It doesn't. And I mean, like, I don't know how that'll shake out or whether it will be beneficial to write, red America or blue America, but it does seem stupid and backward to be counting people who cannot vote and have no right to public funds and so on in the census. Okay. Although in some states they're trying to create them more and more. Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress at a breakneck pace. But don't forget, while they are moving mountains for the good of the nation, you've got your personal savings to worry about. And one of the best ways to look after your savings is through diversification, particularly with gold, like from Birch Gold Group. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 40%. And Birch was an advertiser on this show 12 months ago. If you had purchased then, you'd be 40% richer today. Now's the time. Central banks continue to bolster demand for gold by burying in record quantities. Global instability and tension is high, and Birch Gold makes owning physical gold so easy. Easily convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or buy some to store in your home safe. Just text MK to the number 989898, and Birch Gold is going to send you a free info kit on gold. Look into it. See if it's right for you. There's no obligation, just useful information to help you make a decision. With an A+ rating, with a Better Business Bureau, and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of your savings today. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.